So we'll go to chapter 16, the importance of good communication in business. Let's forget about the case study now. Let's just go immediately to communication. But before we go into what communication is about, one thing is certain: businesses, they must ensure that people are able to get information. Not only them, not only those that are working with them, also their external customers. So that means whatever we have to do as a business, it needs information. So this information is what we have to work on. Without information, then there's no business. So that is why it's important for businesses to be able to give effective or communicate effectively with their businesses, other businesses, or even their customers. So that will take us to what we call different type of communication we have. We have the internal and external. But before we go into that, so what is communication itself? Yeah, they say communication is about sending and receiving information. For me, I would say communication is the act of encoding and decoding information. You encode by sending, you decode by receiving the information. So communication is not complete until, or communication is not effective until the individual that has received the message gets what he's supposed to do done. So if I have passed an information to you that, oh, get this done, you've received the information, yes. Not until when you get it done, there's no effectiveness in the communication. So communication is effective when the receiver is able to make it empirical, when he or she has been able to do what is being expected of him or her. That is when communication is effective. Not just getting the information. Get the information and use the information. That's about communication. Is it clear? Okay. So we have the communication process. So it has to be from the encoder, which is the receiver or the sender. The message will be passed across to the decoder, who is the receiver. I think it's clear. Okay. So we have the sender, the message, that the information that is passing across, and the receiver, that's the person decoding the information. Okay. So as soon as he or she decodes the information, he or she has to give a feedback. Yes. So the feedback is what we meant by using that information. So as soon as I tell you to do something, you get it done. That means I've seen you do it. You have to let me know that you have done it. Or you might not even tell me. Based on your action would say that the job is done. Do you understand? Yes. I could tell you to ensure that get this done. As soon as you are done, let me send me a mail that you have done it. Or do this, it will update immediately on my system. So if it updates immediately on my system, it has meant that you have done it. So that's how feedback goes. So feedback is not necessarily you replying the information. It might be because you have to get something done. And as soon as that is done, it reflects on why the information is being passed across. Is it clear? So that's about how information is being passed. So information has to go from the sender, who is the encoder. The information is message, then the receiver, who is the decoder of the information, then feedback. Without feedback, there's no effectiveness in communication. So we go to how does communication take place. So there are two ways in which communication can take place. It takes place vertically or horizontally. So for vertical communication, it involves going up and down. That means you are sending it upward or downward. Do you understand vertical there? So, like I said earlier, we have vertical communication process and horizontal communication process. So here we start with downward. So when we talk about downward communication, this involves information passing through the subordinate. That means the manager is giving information to those that he or she is working with. Yes. These are your subordinates. Yeah. From the top hierarchy to the lowest hierarchy. That is downward communication process. Is it clear? Yes. So here, it means you as the director, you as the manager, you are passing tangible information to the employees. That they have to get something done. So what are the advantages of using downward communication? One, they said subordinates look to their managers for leadership and guidance. When we talk about leadership is the act of leading. So because we have to receive that information before we get something done, it means every now and then we have to look up to the information that the manager is going to pass through us. So we will always need our manager to give us the guideline before we get them done. So without that alert to do it, or without that reference from the manager, we won't be able to do anything. So that means those that are working under that manager or the span of control of the manager would always rely on information, on leadership and guidance of the manager before they get anything done. So that's one. So here it means that the leader is worth it. It means that the manager is someone who knows what he's doing, or she knows what she's doing.
Yes.
So it allows the decision made by management to be carried out by employees. So as soon as this information is being carried out, it means that the employees must get it done. As soon as they receive the information, they have to get it done. So that means information is vital to the operations of the business. So we would not do anything except if we have this information. So as soon as I am able to pass that information to you, the next thing is you make it effective by doing what you are supposed to do. So here, what is the advantage about allowing decision of management to be carried out? It means that management will be able to understand when things are done or not done. And you wouldn't have any excuse that you didn't do it because I told you to do it. Yes. So you should have done it.
It's an order.
Yeah. The third one, it allows managers to command, control, and organize. Now, as soon as messages are passed, as soon as information is being passed across, it is important for me to check, to update, to get feedback. So how will I be able to get feedback? By getting a response from you.
Yes.
Towards what I tell you to do. So it allows me to control your affairs. It allows me to control the subordinates, to coordinate them, and to know what they have done. Because when I pass information across to you, I will not just give you those information. I will tell you each step that you have to take to get them done. Oh, you do this at 3 o'clock, you do this at 7 o'clock, you do this at 5 o'clock. You have to report this by 6 o'clock. So it is being organized. It is being arranged.
Yes.
So downward communication is always organized and arranged. And it allows managers and directors to be able to measure how effective their subordinates are. You know, the subordinates are working under the manager. That's the span of control. So they are working for the organization. Because they are working for the organization, whatever the manager tells them to do, they have to get it done.
Yes.
But the manager has to check. The manager has to see if they have done it or not. That is control. So how are they going to get it done? That is to coordinate them. Oh, you and you should work together. You and you should work together. That is coordination. Then organization means, oh, arrange it. When you are working together, you have to finish it at 7 o'clock. They have to finish at 3 o'clock. That means it's measurable. So this is what downward communication is about. So the first one is about, it gives what employees to understand or to look upwards, to look forward to getting information from their managers in terms of leadership and guidance. It controls, it organizes, it coordinates communication among workers. Is it clear?
Yes.
Do you have any other question about that?
No.
Okay. Then we go to upward communication. For upward communication, here they said it often involves workers giving feedback to managers. However, it might also involve requests by workers. So for upward communication, it's going from the subordinate to the top hierarchy officer or to the top management. So here, it's not only just giving feedback. It might also be making a request.
Yes.
We could need something from the managers.
Yes.
Do you understand? So upward communication does not only mean that, oh, as soon as you have gotten, it doesn't only mean that you are a receiver. You can also be a sender. Do you understand? Yes. Being a sender means you are making a request. So the top managers will receive the request, they become the receiver there. Yes. Do you understand what we're saying here?
Yeah.
So when you talk about upward does not really mean that you're only giving feedback as being a receiver. You can also be a sender because you could send requests. Yes. And request is also an information that the manager must work on. So if the manager doesn't work on it, that means there's no effective communication. So the fault now comes from the manager, because most of the time the employees or the subordinates might also need some things. They have needs, so that has to be met. But when these needs are met, that is when they are happy, they are motivated to become productive. Do you understand what upward is about here?
Yes.
So what are the advantages of upward communication? Number one, it helps managers to understand the views and needs of subordinates, like I just told you earlier. Upward communication does not only mean receivers giving feedback. It also means that subordinates are also giving information to the manager about their needs, their views, about the organization, about the operations. Two, we make managers aware of problems. So sometimes our request might not be like, we want something. It might be like, we need to repair this.
Yes.
So we need to communicate the problems we are encountering in the organization in the course of our operation. So sometimes we have to send information too. The third one, helps staff to feel that they are valued. You know, when you are able to communicate with top notch, with top management, you feel like, oh, your words are listened to. So your words matter to the running of the organization. Then you feel valued. Yes. When you feel valued, it means you believe that you are also contributing to the growth of the organization. Is it clear? The fourth one, provide managers with information to help make decisions. So managers have to make decisions. They are the decision maker, right?
Yeah.
But for them to make decisions that are vital, that are important to the organization, they need to gather information.
Yes.
And gathering information does not mean sitting down at the office alone. It also means looking down to those that are down to get information from them. You understand? So when you look down on them, when you look up, when you look down for them to give you information, it's also important. It allows you to be able to make decisions that regard the organization. Is it clear? So we go to horizontal. For horizontal communication process, it means that we are at the same level and getting information, passing information across to each other. So most of the time, this happens within departments. Oh, the finance department, or the logistic department, or the general service department. Each department, they have their workers. So when they communicate at that same level, it's called horizontal. Is it clear? Okay. Then we have activity 1. Please read for me.
Roberto Navarro is the original manager of Ilmart, as a Spanish supermarket chain. He's responsible for the performance of 6 stores in the southern Spain. Table 16.1 contains financial information about the performance of the stores in May 2016. The table has been sent to the finance director, who's writing a report for the board meeting.
For the board meeting. Thank you. So they say Roberto Navarro is the regional manager of Elmart. Okay. So they say, who is the sender of the information in this example? The sender is Roberto Navarro.
Yes.
He said he's the regional manager. He is responsible for the performance of 6 stores in Southern. So he has written this, he has made up this to communicate it. So the sender, the first question, they said, who is sender of the information in this example?
It's Roberto Navarro.
The sender of the information is Roberto Navarro. I think that is clear.
Yes.
They said, what is meant by vertical communication? Use an example from the case study. So here, I wrote vertical communication takes place when the message is passed up and down within the organization. That is vertical. Vertical involves upward and downward communication.
Yes.
So together it is vertical.
Okay.
I think it's clear. So that means you are passing information up and down through the hierarchy of the organization. When we talk about hierarchy, we're talking about the level of control, the level of control within the organization. So, however, in this case, the communication is upward. The communication is upward, as Navarro is sending information to the finance director, to the finance. Yes, it's sending information.
So the manager is like lower than the
director. Yeah, the manager is lower to the director.
Okay.
Do you understand?
It's upward.
It's upward. So this information is upward because I'm sending information from the lower level to the upper level. Is it clear?
Okay.
So which is superior? Yeah. So the third question says, what sort of information is being sent in this example? The kind of information sent in this example is the financial information, which is about the performance of the company in May 2016. In May 2016. In May 2016.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
We go to question 4. They say, what sort of, question 4. Why is upward communication helpful? We already know what upward communication is about. The receiver, now the subordinate sending information to the superior officer. Right? Yes. So what are they? We only have to talk about the importance of upward communication. So here I wrote, it is helpful because it allows managers to understand. Now, in this case, the finance director. Do you understand? To understand the views and needs of the subordinates and make them to be conversant about the problems. So based on the case study, it allows Navarro to be able to communicate to the finance director about the performance of the business and what needs to be done if the performance is not at the expected view of the director. So Navarro can also use this media to express his own feelings about what he feels to the finance director. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that's about that. Then go to
internal
types of communication here. So when we talk about internal communication takes place within the organization. So that is communication that occurs within those people working in that organization. That is internal. Then we go to external. For external involves customers and other businesses. So whoever outsiders, those that are outside of the business, but they have dealings with the business. So yeah, I wrote this communication occurs between a business and outsiders, such as customers and other businesses. I think it's clear. So we go to formal and informal communication. So when we talk about formal communication, this is when communication occurs with the approved channel. That means this is formal. Example is this. This is an approved channel. So we are communicating based on certain aspects of the organization, which must go in line with the operations. That is formal. So everything we do is approved.
Yes.
So everything we talk about is within the jurisdiction of the organization. It is ethical. So whatever we talk about here is official. I think you understand what formal means here.
Yes.
Official communication.
Official, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Yes.
I think official, right? Official. All right.
So everything is approved.
It's approved.
Yes.
It's official. So whatever we discuss,
It's
for the-
100% real.
yeah, it's for the organization. So then we have informal. Most of the time, informal communication occurs in an unapproved environment. It's an unofficial communication. Well, unofficial. Unofficial. So we could discuss about something else, or even about these things outside of the business, outside here.
Yeah.
So we could be in the cafe to talk about it. We could be at the stadium to talk about our company. These are unofficial. They are informal. It's not like we are in the working environment. But we are workers, we're working. But sometimes, sometimes you might need to sit in the club to discuss about events, happenings in the organization. So whatever happens there might reflect in your work in the previous day, but it is not official.
It might be gossips, right?
Yeah, it might be gossip, it might be rumors.
Yes.
And sometimes it is important too.
Yes.
It is important. Maybe you feel like we need to discuss this outside here.
So you can express what you
Feel about it.
Okay.
Is it clear, please?
Yes.
So that's about formal and informal communication. Then we go to the importance of good communication. So what about, like I told you earlier, communication is key. So here I said effective communication is key to the effectiveness of any organization. Therefore, poor communication may have a significant effect in the operations of a business. So what I'm trying to say is this: communication is key to running an organization. So not just communication, effective one. Because if communication is effective, it means that both the sender and the receiver are doing well. And if you're not doing well, it means the communication is poor. So what are the effects of poor communication? Number one, workers making mistakes. Because sometimes we look up to the managers for leadership and guidance, but the manager is passing information that I can't really understand. He's giving me the information the way I can't understand. I could make mistake. Yes. So poor communication might lead to workers making mistakes. Two, wastage of resources. Because I'm unable to get what he's saying, I am taking time. I'm using resources the way I'm not supposed to use them. You understand? Because I'm waiting for his guidance on how to get things done. But the information is passing is not giving me the right way to get it done. So instead of me spending 3 hours to do it, I might spend 10 hours doing it. Waste of time, waste of resources. Another problem about another effect about poor communication is poor motivation. Yeah. When communication is poor, when there's no feedback, when information is not clear, when there's asymmetric information, subordinates feel demotivated. They don't feel valued. They feel like when I make requests, like I make a request to my supervisor or my director, and I'm not getting the feedback from this director.
Mm.
That means the communication is poor. I might be demotivated. I might feel like, so I'm not valued. You understand? So this is what poor communication will lead to. Then I get demotivated. I become unhappy working in that organization. And if workers are unhappy, productivity will fall. Is it clear?
They can't do the work. They're gonna be like so unmotivated.
Yeah, and they won't be happy doing it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you want to do when you're not happy.
Okay.
Is it clear?
Mhm.
That is for internal. Now for external, it damages the relationship between customers and businesses. When your customers make order, when your customer makes order and you are not giving them the supply as at when due, you're not telling them why it's been late, it's been delayed. That means there's poor communication. That could damage your relationship between your customers. It could also damage your reputation as a business. When you are unable to pass information, when your customers are unable to get knowledge or information about your product, your service, that means they have asymmetric information about your service. So they were like, this business is just hide and seek. They are not giving us the real information. So it could damage your reputation. The image of the business could be destroyed. Is it clear? Any question about that?
No.
So
I want to know what's the grapevine? The grapevine.
Yeah, grapevine is about unofficial information, like rumors, like gossips.
Okay.
That's grapevine. Clear? All right, we'll move on. So we go to methods of communication. Are you there?
Yes.
So for method of communication, we have face-to-face method, we have written method, and electronic method. So we start with the face-to-face. For face-to-face, this involves spoken information. That means I have to speak to you one-on-one.
Yeah.
This is what we call face-to-face information. So what are the advantages of face-to-face information? Number one, it gives immediate feedback because I am communicating with you right now. So I'm getting the feedback immediately. Do you understand or not? Yes or no? So I'm getting a feedback. So number one. Two, it encourages cooperation. It means we are able to work together. It means we are able to talk together. It means we are able to reach agreement about our differences. Do you understand?
Yes.
The third one, it saves time. I don't have to wait forever. I will get the information from now. Is it clear?
Yes.
But what are the problems about face-to-face communication? Number one, in the course of our communication, I might bring up a body reaction, a body language that doesn't suit well with you. That could break the communication process with us. So records may be kept. It may not be kept. As we're talking, if I have not this record, we are just speaking and it's just going in there. So with the face-to-face communication, there are no proofs, there are no records.
Yeah.
So that's why we are having a class now. If I'm not recording it, there's no proof. That's a problem because you might not be able to refer back to it. The third one, some people may not be listening. It's just like in the classroom when the teacher is explaining and some students are disturbing. It could also distract others. You understand? So when there's a face-to-face communication, people might not be here focused with you. And that's the problem about that. Is it clear? So we go to written communication. For written communication, I wrote, this involves writing information to be passed along to the receiver. So the sender is writing information to be passed along to the receiver. So examples of these are letter, which means that it can be sent to variety of people, letter writing. Reports, which is official communication method. Memorandums, they use memo. We call it memo to pass information, like the school. The school will pass memo. They use memo to communicate with teachers. That's its internal communication method, memo. Then we have forms. Forms are used to communicate daily information. So fill up this form. With this form, I will be able to know your details. So what's your name, your address. We use forms to get routine about what happens. And we have the notice board. The notice board is big.
It's this thing, right?
Yeah, notice board. Yeah. So it's big. It contains information that can be passed across to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that is clear.
Okay.
For the case study 2, you do it yourself. So we go to electronic communication. Are you there? Are you there, please?
Yes.
So for electronic communication, I read this method involves delivering instant messages. It's instant message. That's why it's electronic. It's about technology.
Yes.
It involves technological method of communication. So you can write this method involves technological Technological method of communication. It's not here, but that's what it means. Okay. So examples are the email. When you talk about email, this involves businesses sending messages through text or images via the computer. We have internet. For the internet, this involves sending messages through a system online. So it can be through internal or external. Then we have, okay, this internet. For internet, it's within the organization. That means you are using a network of the organization. That is internet. We call it we use it's a form. We use communicators. They are communicators. So it's not messenger, it's not WhatsApp, we call it communicator. So you can only communicate with your subordinates or your employees, your staff. So whatever we use, this system only involves within those that have dealings with the business. That is internet.
For example, it can be like an app. In our school, we have an app, IGCSE.
Yeah. So that is intra.
Yes.
But for internet, it is for everybody.
Okay.
Through the website or whatever. There's intranet, there's internet. Intra means within you. Inter means in and out.
In and out.
Okay. So mobile phones, the use of telephones to send information. We have social media that's using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp to send information or to receive information. This is intranet now. So this is within the organization. Do you understand?
Yes.
So we have video conferencing and teleconferencing. That means like the Zoom class, the Zoom, it's a video conference. Public address system, that's the PA. That means you can use information like broadcast, like loudspeaker to pass information. Then electronic notice board. It's just like a notice board too. You can use it to pass information. Is it clear? Okay. Do you have any question about that?
No.
Do you want us to do this together?
Okay, we can do it.
Okay. They said, which of the following is an example of external communication? Sending the customer information about a special offer, a departmental staff meeting, a training session for a new recruit, a presentation by the chairman of the senior management team.
External is okay. The first one.
A. Great. So they said, which of the following is a disadvantage to face-to-face communication?
Negative body language may create a barrier.
Thank you. The third one. Which of the following is an example of upward communication?
Upward, that means it's like from the downwards to the top.
Yes, please.
So upward of directly addressing the chair.
Upward, down. Yeah.
Up, yeah.
Yeah, upward, yes.
Upward.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Supervisor asking the C?
The supervisor asking an operative if they can work overtime.
Supervisor is down, I think.
Yeah.
Is up.
The board of directors addressing the shareholders is downward. The board of directors addressing all employees downward. The purchasing officer teaching the new recruits downward. The supervisor asking, yes, it's C. Yeah. Question 4.
Which of the following is most likely to require
written communication?
Information the staff of an end of month.
Informing staff of an end of month party.
Okay, inviting a job applicant for an interview, asking a colleague for a very urgently needed piece of information.
Written communication.
Wait, written communication, it might be emails, reports. So
Letter.
Information stuff, informing, but they don't like say if it's by email or by whatever. How can I know?
Yeah, you should think.
Oh, okay. A job interview is face to face.
Okay.
Inviting a job applicant for an interview. This might be by email.
Which is electronic.
This is
electronic, yes.
Okay.
This is how you get it now.
Okay.
Informing staff of an end of the month party.
It's also electronic.
Yeah.
So asking a colleague for a very urgently needed piece of information.
Yes, the piece of information. You have to write them down.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
It is what? D. Is it clear?
Yes.
So that's all about chapter
60.
Yeah, thank you.